Welcome to a journey unlike any other. High above the clouds, nestled within the rugged peaks of the Himalayas, lies a land often referred to as the roof of the world, Tibet. But this breathtaking region is far more than its altitude or natural beauty. Tibet's story is one of profound spirituality, resilience, and an unbreakable bond with its faith. Imagine a land where the mountains themselves seem to whisper ancient prayers, where the rhythm of life beats in harmony with the chants of monks and the flutter of prayer flags in the wind. Tibetan history is a tapestry woven with threads of devotion, perseverance, and a deep-rooted connection to Buddhism. It's not just a history of survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth. It's a history of thriving through faith and unity. Centuries ago, Tibet began shaping its spiritual identity, guided by the teachings of the Buddha. The introduction of Buddhism to Tibet wasn't merely the adoption of a new religion, it was the beginning of a transformation. Great teachers like Padmasambhava, often called Guru Rinpoche, brought Buddhist teachings to this remote land, intertwining them with the local Bon traditions and creating a unique spiritual path. This blend evolved into what we now know as Tibetan Buddhism, a philosophy that teaches compassion, mindfulness, and the pursuit of enlightenment. Throughout history, Tibet's faith has been its compass, guiding it through challenges both natural and man-made. From the establishment of ancient monasteries like Jokang Temple and Potala Palace to the preservation of sacred texts, Tibetans have poured their hearts into safeguarding their spiritual heritage. These monasteries are more than architectural marvels. They're living symbols of a community's commitment to peace, wisdom, and interconnectedness. But Tibet's story isn't without struggle. The resilience of its people has been tested time and again, yet through all the trials, they've remained steadfast, turning to their faith for strength and finding solace in practices like meditation, prayer, and the recitation of mantras. These traditions, passed down through generations, continue to inspire millions around the globe. What can we learn from Tibetan history? It teaches us that true strength comes from within. In a world filled with uncertainty and change, Tibet's unwavering connection to its spiritual roots reminds us of the importance of compassion, mindfulness, and community. As we reflect on this extraordinary journey, let us carry forward the lessons of Tibet, a history shaped by resilience, a spirit nurtured by faith, and a culture built on the enduring power of connection. Thank you for joining us today. If you found inspiration in this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to explore more tales of history, spirituality, and resilience. Tibet's early history is a captivating tale of mystery and transformation, one that begins with the powerful Yarlung dynasty. Emerging in the shadow of the towering Himalayas, this dynasty unified scattered Tibetan tribes, laying the foundation for a rich and cohesive culture. Yet, it was in the 7th century that a pivotal chapter unfolded, forever changing the course of Tibetan history. This era was defined by the reign of King Songtsen Gampo, a visionary leader whose influence transcended borders. Under his rule, Tibet didn't just grow stronger politically, it underwent a profound cultural and spiritual awakening. Songtsen Gampo embraced Buddhism, marking the beginning of a transformative journey that would intertwine faith and identity for centuries to come. Buddhism's arrival in Tibet wasn't a simple adoption of new beliefs, it was the spark of a cultural revolution. With the guidance of Songtsen Gampo's two queens, Princess Brikuti of Nepal and Princess Wencheng of China, Buddhism began to take root. Temples like the Jokang and Rinpoche were built, serving as sanctuaries of devotion and architectural wonders that still stand as testaments to this transformative period. This shift wasn't just about religion. It was a redefinition of what it meant to be Tibetan. Buddhism shaped the arts, inspiring intricate thangkas and statues that became visual expressions of spiritual wisdom. It influenced the Tibetan script, giving rise to written records that preserved the teachings of the Buddha and the chronicles of the Tibetan people. Even governance was touched by Buddhist principles, as compassion and mindfulness were woven into the fabric of leadership. Through Buddhism, Tibetans found not just spiritual guidance, but a profound sense of purpose and resilience. The teachings emphasized compassion, interconnectedness, and the pursuit of enlightenment, ideals that resonated deeply in a land where survival was often a daily struggle. Buddhism became more than a religion. It became the heartbeat of Tibetan identity. As we look back on this extraordinary period in Tibetan history, we see a story of transformation that continues to inspire. It reminds us of the power of faith to unify, uplift, and define a culture. From the early days of the Yarlung dynasty to the spiritual revolution of King Songtsen Gampo, Tibet's history is a testament to the enduring strength of a people shaped by their beliefs. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed exploring this remarkable chapter of Tibetan history, please like, share, and subscribe to discover more stories that connect us to the wisdom of the past. The ancient Silk Road was far more than a trade route connecting distant lands. It was a conduit for ideas, cultures, and spiritual beliefs. Stretching across vast deserts and towering mountains, it became the pathway through which Buddhist teachings made their journey from India to the heart of Tibet. This exchange wasn't just a moment in history. It was a transformation that reshaped the spiritual identity of an entire region. As Buddhist scriptures traveled along this intricate network, they carried profound wisdom, philosophies, and practices that would redefine Tibet's spiritual landscape. These sacred texts were more than words. They were treasures of enlightenment, passed from one civilization to another. When they reached Tibet, they sparked a spiritual awakening that would endure for centuries. Tibet's remote monasteries, often perched on cliffs or nestled in valleys, became centers of learning and preservation. They weren't just places of worship, they were sanctuaries of knowledge, where monks meticulously copied, studied, and safeguarded these texts. These monasteries became the heartbeat of Tibetan culture, fostering a tradition of scholarship and spiritual practice that would later influence not only Asia, but the entire world. What makes Tibetan Buddhism so unique is how it absorbed and evolved these teachings. Practices like meditation, visualization, and tantric rituals took root in this land, blending with the indigenous Bon traditions to create a distinct spiritual path. These methods weren't just about seeking enlightenment, they became tools for self-discovery, compassion, and profound connection with the universe. It's incredible to think how this remote, often inaccessible land became a vibrant hub of spiritual dialogue. The Silk Road carried more than goods. It carried the seeds of ideas that flourished in Tibet's fertile spiritual soil. From the mountains of India to the peaks of Tibet, these teachings transcended borders, inspiring a legacy that continues to guide and uplift millions today. As we reflect on the Silk Road's impact on Tibetan history, we see a story of transformation fueled by faith, resilience, and the power of connection. This ancient bridge of ideas reminds us that even in the most isolated corners of the world, the human spirit seeks to share, learn, and grow. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Tibetan history. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the timeless lessons of spirituality and culture. The 11th century was a defining era for Tibetan Buddhism, a time often referred to as its Renaissance. It was during this period that great scholars like Atisha journeyed to Tibet, bringing with them wisdom and teachings that would ignite a spiritual and intellectual awakening. Their arrival marked the beginning of a transformation that reshaped Tibet's cultural and religious landscape forever. Atisha's influence was profound. His teachings on compassion, mindfulness, and the path to enlightenment resonated deeply with the Tibetan people. Under his guidance, the foundations of Tibetan Buddhism were strengthened, and new traditions began to emerge. This era saw the rise of the major schools of Tibetan Buddhism, including the Gelug, Kagyu, and Nyingma traditions. Each school brought its own interpretations and practices, creating a rich and diverse spiritual heritage that continues to flourish today. Monasteries became the heart of this renaissance. Iconic sites like Jokang Temple and Drepung Monastery weren't just places of worship, they were symbols of spiritual brilliance and architectural mastery. Jokang, with its golden roofs and sacred relics, stood as a beacon of devotion, while Drepung, once the largest monastery in the world, became a hub of learning and meditation. These monasteries embodied the Tibetan people's commitment to preserving and expanding their spiritual traditions. What's truly remarkable is how this renaissance blossomed in a land so isolated by geography. Surrounded by towering mountains and harsh landscapes, Tibet could have remained cut off from the world. Instead, it became a center of spiritual and intellectual innovation, a testament to the resilience and dedication of its people. Through the teachings of great masters and the tireless efforts of monks and scholars, Tibet built a culture that continues to inspire awe and reverence. This period of history reminds us of the power of faith and knowledge to transcend boundaries. The 11th century Renaissance in Tibetan Buddhism wasn't just about spiritual practices. It was a celebration of humanity's endless quest for meaning and connection. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Tibetan history. If you found this story inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more explorations of spirituality, culture, and resilience. Tibet's history is a story of profound spirituality and resilience, but it hasn't been without its challenges. Over the centuries, this land of towering mountains and sacred monasteries has faced invasions, political upheavals, and repeated attempts to suppress its unique culture. Yet, through every trial, Tibetan spirituality has endured, standing as a source of strength and hope for its people. One of the most defining aspects of Tibetan history is its ability to find light in the darkest of times. When external forces sought to diminish Tibet's identity, it was faith that kept its spirit alive. The teachings of Buddhism, rooted in compassion, mindfulness, and the pursuit of enlightenment, provided the Tibetan people with a foundation of inner strength. Practices like meditation and the recitation of mantras became acts of resistance, preserving their culture and faith even in the face of adversity. In modern history, the Dalai Lama has become the embodiment of this resilience. As a spiritual leader and symbol of Tibetan identity, he has carried the hopes of millions of Tibetans. His teachings emphasize peace, wisdom, and the importance of compassion, not just for Tibet, but for the world. Forced into exile, the Dalai Lama's journey is a testament to the power of faith and leadership in uniting a people scattered across the globe. Under his guidance, Tibetans have not only preserved their culture, but also shared it with the world. Through initiatives like the promotion of Tibetan Buddhism and cultural heritage, their story has inspired countless individuals. The Dalai Lama's unwavering commitment to nonviolence and dialogue serves as a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, peace and resilience can prevail. Tibet's history teaches us a valuable lesson: that faith and cultural identity can be unshakable sources of strength. In moments of great challenge, they can guide us, ground us, and help us rise above even the most daunting obstacles. As we reflect on Tibet's journey, let us take inspiration from its resilience and the enduring power of its spirituality. Thank you for being a part of this exploration of Tibetan history. If this story has moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the lessons of faith, culture, and perseverance. The Tibetan diaspora is one of the most extraordinary chapters in the story of Tibetan history. Forced to leave their homeland, Tibetans have faced immense challenges, yet they have turned displacement into an opportunity to preserve and share their unique culture and spirituality with the world. Today, Tibetan communities in exile have become vital torchbearers, ensuring that their heritage not only survives, but thrives on a global stage. When Tibetans fled their homeland, they carried with them more than just memories. They brought the essence of their culture and faith. Monasteries were re-established in India, Nepal, and eventually in the West, becoming centers of learning, meditation, and preservation. These monasteries are more than physical structures. They are living embodiments of Tibetan spirituality, places where ancient teachings are kept alive and shared with the world. One of the most profound impacts of the Tibetan diaspora is the way it has introduced Tibetan Buddhism to a global audience. Teachings on mindfulness, meditation, and compassion, deeply rooted in Tibetan practices, have resonated with people far beyond the Himalayas. As modern society seeks solace from the stresses of daily life, Tibetan wisdom offers tools for inner peace and clarity. It's remarkable to see how these ancient practices have found a new home in the hearts of people across the globe. The global interest in mindfulness and meditation owes much to the tireless efforts of Tibetan teachers, monks, and spiritual leaders. Figures like the Dalai Lama have traveled the world, sharing messages of compassion, nonviolence, and interconnectedness. In doing so, they have not only preserved Tibetan culture, but have also positioned it as a guiding light for those seeking peace in an increasingly chaotic world. The Tibetan diaspora's story is one of resilience, adaptation, and profound generosity. Despite losing their homeland, they have chosen to give, sharing their wisdom and culture with a world that so desperately needs it. Their journey reminds us of the strength that comes from holding on to one's identity while embracing change, and the transformative power of turning suffering into a source of inspiration. As we reflect on the contributions of the Tibetan diaspora, we see a powerful example of how culture and spirituality can transcend borders. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Tibetan history and its global impact. If this story has inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the timeless lessons of resilience, faith, and compassion. Today, Tibet finds itself at a critical crossroads. A land steeped in spirituality and resilience, it faces ongoing challenges, yet its culture continues to inspire and uplift people around the globe. From its mesmerizing art and soulful music to the profound teachings of Tibetan Buddhism, Tibet's unique identity endures as a beacon of hope and wisdom. Tibetan culture is more than just a heritage. It's a living, breathing legacy that carries the essence of a people who have weathered centuries of adversity. Efforts to preserve the Tibetan language and traditions are at the heart of this struggle. Language is the soul of a culture, and for Tibetans, it is through their words, chants, and sacred texts that their wisdom is passed down. Across Tibetan communities worldwide, there is a growing movement to teach younger generations the language, ensuring that the heartbeat of Tibetan identity remains strong. Art and music, too, play a vital role in keeping the spirit of Tibet alive. Traditional Tibetan thangkas, vibrant with color and symbolism, are not just paintings, they are meditations, gateways to spiritual understanding. Tibetan music, with its haunting chants and melodies, resonates with the depth of a culture that sees life as an interconnected journey. These creative expressions continue to captivate audiences far beyond the borders of Tibet, spreading its message of peace and mindfulness. Perhaps the most profound contribution of Tibetan culture is the philosophy of Tibetan Buddhism. Its teachings on compassion, interconnectedness, and the pursuit of inner peace are especially relevant in today's fragmented and fast-paced world. As divisions grow and challenges mount globally, Tibetan Buddhism offers a path forward, a reminder that strength lies in unity and that true progress is built on understanding and kindness. Tibet's history is a story of survival and flourishing through faith, and today, that faith is more important than ever. As Tibet stands at this crossroads, its enduring culture and spirituality call on us all to reflect on what truly matters. The Tibetan people remind us that even in the face of great uncertainty, hope and resilience can light the way. Thank you for taking this journey with us through the incredible story of Tibetan history. If you've been inspired by this message of compassion and unity, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories that celebrate the strength of the human spirit and the lessons of the past. Tibetan history is a profound testament to the enduring power of faith and resilience. It is the story of a people who, despite facing immense challenges, have managed to preserve their culture, spirituality, and traditions for centuries. This history is not just a record of the past. It's a living, breathing example of how humanity can find strength, meaning, and hope in its values and beliefs. At the heart of Tibetan history lies a deep connection to Buddhism. This spiritual foundation has been a guiding light for Tibetans through times of triumph and adversity. The teachings of the Buddha brought to Tibet centuries ago became more than religious doctrine. They became a way of life. Compassion, mindfulness, and the pursuit of enlightenment are principles that have not only shaped Tibetan culture, but have also provided its people with inner strength to overcome external challenges. Throughout history, Tibet has faced invasions, political upheavals, and efforts to suppress its identity. Yet, Tibetan spirituality has remained unbroken, serving as both a shield and a beacon. Monasteries, temples, and sacred texts have stood as symbols of this resilience, safeguarding the wisdom and traditions of the Tibetan people. Even in exile, Tibetans have continued to thrive, sharing their culture and spirituality with the world. What makes Tibetan history so extraordinary is its relevance to us today. In a world often marked by division and uncertainty, the lessons of Tibetan culture remind us of the strength found in compassion and interconnectedness. Tibetan Buddhism teaches that we are all deeply connected, and that our actions, no matter how small, can create ripples of kindness and understanding. The story of Tibet is a call to reflect on our own lives. It shows us that even in the face of great adversity, we can find hope in our traditions and resilience in our faith. It encourages us to embrace compassion, not just as an ideal, but as a practice that can transform our lives and the lives of those around us. As we reflect on Tibetan history, may we carry forward its lessons into our own journeys. Let us find strength in our connections, wisdom in our challenges, and hope in our shared humanity. Thank you for joining us in exploring the inspiring story of Tibet. If this message has resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to continue discovering the timeless lessons of faith, culture, and resilience.